It is no exception that Venom was played perfectly in Spider-Man 2.
I gotta give a shout out to my big boy Tony Todd, because this performance would nowhere near be as good if it was someone else playing the character. As Venom is probably one of the most fan favourites of Spider-Man 2, it was no surprise that Insomniac were going to cut to the news that we were eventually going to get a solo Venom game for their next instalment. And of course that is going to be Venom Lethal Protector, coming in around 2025. So today we're going to go over some of the things I'd want to see in this game, and some of them are things that I hope they do right in this game, because Venom is not a very big character you can mess up. I mean, he does have a similar decent origin story, and every other version of Venom there always has been a very unique side to him, so I'm hoping they actually do capture that in the new spin-off game that we're getting. Since the introduction of Carnage in the Flame side mission, it seems like Carnage could possibly be the main villain, depending on what we will see in the Spider-Man DLC, whether that be number 2 or number 3. And since Cletus Cassidy is confirmed in this universe to be playing Carnage, it only seems right for him to come into the spin-off of Venom. Carnage was introduced really well into this game, even though like most people didn't even know who the hell this guy was. It just showed up on screen and then everyone saw it and they went nuts. And not only on Venom's story, I'm actually excited to see what they do with Cletus Cassidy's story if he is revealed to be the main villain in this game, due to how we don't really know much about this version of Cletus Cassidy and what he's actually capable of. Alongside Carnage, I think it'd be an absolutely incredible idea if they included Null into this game, because that would definitely turn heads and definitely make a ton of sales in the process. Null is determined to be the god of symbiotes, and I think him in a Venom fight with this guy would probably be the best part of the whole game. I mean, we've never even seen Null adapted into anything yet except from the comics, so I'm hoping to God that they do some of that justice and make Carnage and Null the main two villains of this game, because that would make me into. Like, imagine having Null and Carnage up against Venom in this one game. I mean, this could break mental sales. So in reality, if they do Carnage justice and they do add Null into the game, I could see the villains roster being incredibly good, especially for Insomniac, what they've got up their sleeve with their own games and what they're planning to do in the future. I see absolutely no problem with introducing these two characters into this game and just blowing fans' minds. Now we have to talk about who could possibly play Venom in the next Venom game. Now of course, after Peter and Miles destroyed the symbiote, there obviously will be a way of getting it back, otherwise there would be no plot for the next Venom game. They may bring back some kind of point that some of it wasn't all destroyed and it's not been properly disintegrated, so they might end up going back in time or something to try and get the symbiote back or something. I have no idea. It doesn't seem like it's going to be endgame or anything, but I have a feeling they could find a way to get even more of the symbiote, so of course we can continue with the Venom game, because it wouldn't make much sense just destroying the symbiote and that's it. I'm sure there's been other ways of trying to find out where the symbiote is and where it's actually going to come from to make the plot thicken in this game. Now that brings me to the point of who could possibly be the next Venom after Harry Osborn. Like we saw in Spider-Man PS4, Peter Parker actually did get a card from Eddie Brock. Of course, that is the main tagline Venom that we all know and love. However, I don't think they should actually include Eddie Brock at all in this universe yet. I just don't think he really deserves the Venom tagline, even though we have seen countless interpretations of Eddie Brock in the past with this type of character. And the things that people don't really mention is that we've had countless versions of Venom in the comics. I mean, it's not just been Eddie Brock that's worn the mantle of Venom. We've also had Harry Osborn in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. We've seen Peter Parker wearing it at some point in the comics, which everyone thought was going to be Peter Parker at some point in this game, which was pretty funny. We also saw Matt Gargan wear the symbiote at some point in the comics. And we've even seen Deadpool wear the symbiote at some point as well. So who do I properly think could possibly be Venom in this next game? I have no idea, considering we've already seen Harry as Venom yet again. It's pretty too soon to tell yet, but obviously we're not going to realise until we actually finally release the game. But my prediction is that we probably will see Harry don it again, and he's probably just going to end up doing a bunch of side missions and continuing with the story and fighting Carnage. Or we could actually see, or hear me out here, Dr. Connors. I know that sounds incredibly fucked and it sounds weird because he was just a lizard, but he was the only one that really knew about the symbiote in this universe, as well as Peter Parker, and then of course Harry Osborn, which we've already seen. So if we actually saw Dr. Connors actually take on the mantle and become Venom, I mean, because you never know. Insomniac are always known for doing things differently and all with a new twist on it. So honestly, if this becomes true, and I'm just talking bollocks here, you can obviously slander me in the comments. But honestly, if they actually do eventually make him Dr. Connors, that would just be incredibly hilarious. But it would also make a lot of fucking sense. But of course, that's my very dumb take on who could be Venom in the next game, so yeah, let's just move on. Considering we've had 3 successful Insomniac Spider-Man games, and they've came with a whole plethora of suits, I don't see why Venom would not have that same ability to transform into any type of suit you wish. And of course, over the years with Venom media, we've seen a ton of different beastly Venoms, from skinny to fat to bulky ass Venom, which is definitely the best version of Venom, don't at me. But this Venom game could have a plethora of different Venom suits that we've seen through comics, video games and other types of media. And judging by Insomniac, they're just bound to do that. I mean, like, they're going to just add multiple suits in anyway, and I think this is definitely a thing that we're going to see in this game nonetheless. I'm hoping one thing they absolutely nail is the length of the campaign. With Miles Morales, we kind of saw that spin-off as being around 7 hours, and it just clocked in just about over 7.5 hours for me. However, if they actually do go ahead with Venom and they go ahead with making it a decently long campaign, at least give us like maybe 8 to 9 hours. I think we should deserve something a little tiny bit longer than 7 hours with Miles, because obviously Miles was just a gap in between what Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 was. But obviously this is not actually going to be a filler. This is a continuation spin-off of what we've seen in Spider-Man 2 with Venom. So honestly, if they clock in around 10 to 11 hours, I think that's a decent number for a spin-off. Even though some games are quite like that and they're already around 10 hours. Or hell, just make it 8 hours. I mean, an extra hour and a half or whatever of seeing more Venom, I think that is definitely what fans will want a lot more than just having a really short ass game like the most recent Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 campaign. And no doubt Insomniac will add the occasional side content they put in their games with these types of Spider-Man media. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to have quite a lot for the money, and I hope to God that they just make it as good as the first 3 games that came before it, because it just doesn't make much sense for them just to make a flop, especially when you're making a Venom game and just not making it up to the standard that fans actually want it to be. So if they make this spin-off a tiny little bit longer than Miles Morales, I can see them cashing in big time. Now let's jump into the most important part of the game, which would be of course price. With all 3 games so far clocking around the $60 mark or around even £60 mark, I can actually see that Venom might actually just be around the same as the other 3. However, I think this is a major disadvantage of what Insomniac is actually doing. Yes, they want to make that big fat dosh and put it in their pocket, but they also don't actually need to think about they actually have to think about more of the fan service of what the product they're actually providing. So all honesty, I think they should rather just make it down to around £45 or $45 or whatever the price could be, slightly just cheaper than 50 or 60. Because I don't believe any type of spin-off game, especially if it's short, should actually be costing that amount of money. I mean, not everyone is going to be able to pay for that, especially with the cost of living crisis going on. And I know a lot of people that wouldn't want to spend about 50, 60, 70 or even £90 for a collector's edition for a spin-off game that's only probably around 7 to 8 hours, just like Miles Morales was. And everything would happen with that, and it would just eventually be announced as a probable scam, and Insomniac would probably get quite a lot of shit for it. So please Insomniac, in the future, just price your games right, especially for what the kind of things you're trying to provide to the fans, and because a lot of people put a lot of trust in you here, so just give us a good price and everyone be willing to pay for it. And as long as everyone's happy with the experience they have with the game, I'm sure they will rack in the amount of money they actually want to make with it. However, I do have immense faith in Insomniac that they can provide a good product to the people, because they're certainly not missed without all 3 games. So honestly, if they actually do this perfectly, then I'm not going to see any problems with it. And I mean, they can't really mess up Venom, especially what they've done with Venom at the end of the Spider-Man 2 game. And lastly, the final thing that I think they should be added into Venom is of course more Peter Parker. And you may be saying, oh yeah, he retired at the end of Spider-Man 2. But of course that doesn't mean we can't see more of Miles and Peter Parker in action. Yes, he may have so-called retired from the Spider-Man mantle, but it doesn't mean we can't see multiple appearances from him in this Venom game. And especially not having Peter Parker show up in this game at all, it just makes the game kind of just weird and not even seem like it's part of this universe. Where, I mean, why would you not scrap out the main character that has made your universe, man? It makes no sense. So regardless, I think they will eventually put Peter in this game as some kind of cameo like we saw in Miles Morales. And of course we might see his confrontation with whoever the Venom is in this game. And yeah, who knows if we get another boss fight with Venom, because I'm extremely excited for that. So let me know guys down below what you think of the upcoming Venom game. I don't know, obviously it's quite a long ways away right now, but what do you want to see in this game? Do you want to see more of what we've seen already, or do you want to see a completely new take and a completely different original story like we've seen with the past 4 games, and seeing what is it going up Venom's sleeve in this game compared to the Harry version that we saw in Spider-Man 2? Let me know down below in your thoughts of this whole topic. And just to mention the brand new brand I created called Creator Made, this is essentially a brand that focuses around business owners and other content creators and being the most creative person you can be. And obviously this is just building a movement around what people love to do and enjoy. So if you guys want to join part of the movement, make sure you go down in the description and grab yourself a t-shirt or a hoodie, and you want to support the cause and the movement. And yeah, without further ado, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.